Hi, this is Kelly Brown, and today we're going to talk about charting in Excel. Charting can be very cool, very powerful. It tells the story of what the data looks like, and Excel has made it even easier to create a great chart. With 2013, they have recommended charts based on the data that you select, and I'm going to show you how to use that now. First thing to keep in mind when you're charting is that a chart is only as good as your data, so you want your data to be as meaningful and clean as possible before you do your chart. If I looked at the data that I see here, I would first make a decision about what data do I want to use for the chart. I see here that I have a column with a room number. Is that really necessary for a chart? Do I need to know what room number the students are? Then I have a teacher. Well, there's all the same teacher, so I could just put that in the title or in an axis title. I don't need it as part of the data. Then I have a column with absolutely no data, so I definitely don't want to include that in my chart. And then I see that they're all in grade 3. Again, if they're all the same, I can put that in an axis somewhere. I don't need to chart it. But now I get to the meat of it. I get reading, writing, and math scores for certain students. So I've just clicked and dragged to select that is the data I want to chart. Now I'm going to go to the ribbon. I'm going to click on the Insert tab of the ribbon. And then I'm going to go to the right a little bit, and what Excel 2013 now has, you see all the different kinds of charts, but it also has a big button that says Recommended Charts. And Excel was going to look at your data and make recommendations that they think might be the best way to chart your data. So I'm going to click on Recommended Charts, and I get this window up here, and you see there's a tab here that's Recommended Charts, and it has a big clustered column thing that they think might be useful. There's also some other choices here that I can look at and scroll down, but I'm going to start off with the first one that Excel recommended and see how we do. So I have it selected there. I'm going to click on the OK button, and now my chart appears right here. And I look at it and it looks pretty good. It's nice. Okay. I can see my data pretty well. What it's telling the story, if I say what is the story of this chart, it's telling me how the students did. You know, it's highlighting the student scores. Is that the story I want to tell? I'm not sure. One thing that I usually do with something like this is I switch the row and column to see if it's telling a different story, if it's telling that might be a better way to tell about the data what I want. So I'm going to click up here in the ribbon. I'm in the ribbon and it says switch row and column. I click there and now it changes a bit, and now the focus is on the reading, writing, and math. So the story is different now. Before I was focusing on how the students did. Here I'm focusing on how they did in reading, writing, and math. So I'm going to leave it like this for right now. And I want to point out that these tools that are in the ribbon right now are only visible to me because my chart is selected. If I clicked in some white space in the data in the worksheet, my ribbon does not have those choices. I still see the chart. The chart is there, but I can't manipulate it. The way I can manipulate it is by clicking on the chart, and then this tab appears, a Chart Tools Contextual tab, and that only appears when the chart is selected. So if you get to a point where you're like, oh no, I can't do anything to the chart anymore, just click on the chart and then those tools will be available to you again. So I have this here and I think it's pretty cool. You see to the right of the chart there's some options. One is a filter. If I click on the filter, I have all these values here and I can choose to say I only want to see Leah, or I only want to see Lindsay, or I only want to see reading. So that's a way to filter the data that's being presented in the chart. Then also there's an option here for chart styles. Here, you remember we saw recommended charts. Well, there's some other ones. Here's one where the data labels are at the top. Here's one where they're at the top, but the bars look a little different. Here the data labels are inside the bars and it has a gradient in the background that looks kind of nice. Then this one is, again, the numbers, the data labels are inside. So this is chart styles, and I did that by clicking on this pen or paintbrush symbol over here right away. I could also click on color, And you see there's a color scheme here, but say I wanted it to look more, just monochromatic or different colors or things like that. I could do that just by going to this color versus style. And then this one is adding chart elements, and those could be like different axes and labels and legends and all those kind of things. I can see the data labels are there. If I didn't want them, I could uncheck them and then they would disappear. The chart title's already there. Axes title will come up over here. So these are all things that you can quickly do right from the chart. Of course, these things are also available to you in the ribbon. So it's really just getting the data that is meaningful, making sure it's telling the story that you want to tell, and then just clicking through all the choices that Excel gives you to make it look the way you want. Okay? So that's how we do some charting in Excel.